What happens when a player takes a misunderstanding to its breaking point? Let me describe the situation. So I lost my character because another player decided that they had to get rid of her, which he sort of managed to do. A little under a year ago, I joined a 5e homebrew campaign set in the Sword Coast. I met the DM at a different campaign, Dragon Heist, where he was a player as well. I knew Paladin, who DM'd the Dragon Heist campaign, and his girlfriend Cleric for about 1.5 years at that point, and they seemed eager for me to join them as well. So I did, and I joined as my ditzy, drop-dead gorgeous rogue, who mostly just acts more like a stereotypical bard of memes than anything else. Everything seemed pretty cool in the beginning, but that changed quickly. My ditzy rogue, an acquaintance of Paladin and Cleric, had joined the party purely because she was looking for something to do. She had literally just popped up at the Paladin stronghold to say hi to them and just sorta went along with the group. After all, she was just there to kill some time. However, not too long after she met this party, she received a letter from an unknown sender. The letter simply said to do whatever the unknown sender wanted her to do, or she may look forward to receiving some packages in the coming days, ones containing pieces of her family. It was also made very clear that they were watching her at all times, so telling anyone about the letter would mean some freshly chopped off appendages. Now it is important to note that my rogue cares more about her baby brother than anyone else in the world, so the choice was pretty easy to her. And what is it exactly that she had to do? Steal a powerful item that the party was going to find pretty soon, and hand it over to whoever sent that letter to her. And she did. She stole the item the night before the party left for Neverwinter, when they were busy getting hammered at the local tavern. It was brilliant and dramatic, especially when she revealed to the party what she had done. They had no idea. As far as they had been aware, the item had been under lock and key at the Paladin stronghold the whole time they had been traveling. Now the party had to come up with a way to get the item back. Sure, my rogue had put a crack in their trust in her, but the rest of the campaign would have been a great stage for her to redeem herself and gain their trust once more. But it was not meant to be. What ended as a tense and dramatic, but awesome evening, became a tense and dramatic and absolutely horrifying next morning. In the group chat, the Paladin had started what I can only describe as a temper tantrum. A little extra context. Paladin and Cleric were unable to make it to the session the night before due to personal reasons. Therefore, they had not been present at the table when my rogue confessed to stealing the item and handing it to the enemy forces. It stinks that they could not be present, but then again, I had not planned for this information to come out during that session either. That is just how the game played out. So we let them know over the group chat what they had missed. And boy, did Paladin not take it that well. Between the thinly veiled anger were some nice passive-aggressive threats to my rogue from both Paladin and Cleric, followed by some attempts by Paladin to get the group to pick his side. Paladin's initial argument was that the group should not trust me as a player or my rogue anymore because I had stolen from the party. Now I get that having another party member steal from you stinks, sure, especially with horror stories going around of rogues abusing their abilities to steal from the party. It can harm the group, but at no point had my ditzy rogue ever even attempted to steal from the party, or any NPCs up until this specific moment. Besides, despite Paladin suddenly being an avid advocate for rogues not stealing from their parties, him and Cleric had both happily joked about my rogue stealing from the other members on multiple occasions, even almost pushed her to do so. Furthermore, when the DM asked if there would have been an issue if an NPC had stolen the item, Paladin's answer was no. No. The real issue was that my character had stolen a potentially powerful item from the Paladin's stronghold. I was essentially undermining his authority, and the Paladin, as well as his player, had a bit of a superiority complex, it seems. His other argument was that the item was very well hidden in his stronghold, so my rogue should not have been able to find it so easily and just taken it. Now mind you, despite the Paladin's player thinking that the item was just handed to me, I actually played through the heist in a one-on-one session with the DM. And no, it was not easy to find the item and disarm the traps set on it. It just so happened that I thought out the heist, made the right decisions, got a little lucky on the timing, and had some really good dice rolls to back up my actions. In the end, it was decided that the Paladin and my rogue would duke it out, one-on-one, because although he absolutely hates PvP, I had forced his hand, according to him. I only agreed to this because I was just so done with the out-of-character drama Paladin had created, and I wanted to move on. Let's just say, my rogue never stood a chance. Especially not against this power-gamed Oath of Conquest Paladin, without any allies to back her up. The Paladin had basically demanded that none of the other players/characters would interfere with this little bout. So no sneak attack for my rogue, no magical support, no nothing. The Paladin almost immediately pinned my rogue with his aura of conquest and just kept on hacking into her. Meanwhile, the cleric took care of anyone who did try to help me. Somehow, I managed to get out of his aura long enough to start making a mad dash for safety, but it was too late by that point, and my rogue went down. What Paladin had not accounted for, though, was my rogue suddenly rising again in a dark smoke, only to fly off into the distance. Essentially, the DM had come to me before and discussed plans for my rogue to go dark at some point. There would be some conditions to it. Basically, it would only trigger at certain circumstances when I went down, and I would not obviously be able to play this dark version of my ditzy rogue. I had said yes to this before any of this with the Paladin happened because I thought it would make for an awesome story. Well, without knowing it, Paladin had triggered this event, and thus a new big bad evil gal was created. And here's the real kicker. When the party discussed with the Paladin what had happened after the PvP, he literally made up a story that my rogue had entered some contract with him and Cleric to justify his attempt at taking her out. Now, I had never agreed to such contract, nor would my rogue have ever agreed to it either. He was just trying to save face in front of the other players because they had reacted negatively to his actions, but not mine. He then also got upset and threw another temper tantrum about me joining with another character as a full-time party member, even though that character was fairly obviously built to be a guest character to bamf in and out with. A combination of this event, as well as some more points of friction in another campaign, which I may talk about at some time later, eventually led to Paladin leaving the party. He could no longer play at the table with me, he said. Sad, but probably for the best. This thing with Paladin really showed me just how much of a superiority complex he has and how controlling he can be. I don't know. I feel like the DM should have read the room a little better and controlled the situation. OP stated later that Paladin was aware of the reason why she stole, so that issue is out of the way. Ultimately, DM should have put their foot down and said no PvP. In hindsight, maybe the DM should have postponed this dramatic event till the entire party was available. I really don't know why Paladin directed this issue at OP when the DM is the one who created the situation. Anywho, what do you all think about this situation?